The transition from public EDC to private EDC. Your everyday carry is something that's important. We carry it on our person for a reason, to have capabilities and to overcome challenges. Some of those which may be life-threatening. So how do we go from our public everyday carry to transition into our home or our personal everyday carry? Because when you're in your home or on your property, sometimes you don't need as much stuff, or you need different kinds of stuff. Just depends on where you live and what you do at your home. Some of us, though, when we get home from work or going from getting groceries or wherever we were out in public, we just go in our home and we don't do stuff outside maybe for that day or that weekend. Sometimes we just veg out. In those situations, you may not need much on you, especially if things are very close by, depending on how large your home is and if you have multiple layers in your home, multiple stories, I should say, you may not find the need. If you have a very small home, for example, and all your emergency gear and flashlights and a knife and a handgun is all within reach where you typically dwell in that residence, it may be kind of hard to put it on your person. At least I sometimes have that issue myself. Even though most of the time I still have like a pocket knife and maybe a very rudimentary light, but sometimes I don't. And that's just something that I think we all struggle with because we always want to pick comfort over capabilities sometimes, especially in the home. And for good reason, because it's not always desirable to be uncomfortable. Not that your EDC should be uncomfortable, but some people want to maximize their comfort. They may just want to put some really loose sweatpants on. And you know how those are. If you try to clip anything in those pockets or on the waistline, it kind of hangs a little bit because the material is really flexible and it doesn't have a lot of rigidity. And so there's some things that when you wear, it doesn't lend well to carry much gear. You might be able to get away with a 1 or 2 ounce pocket knife or a couple ounce flashlight, but sometimes you may have to find different means of how to carry it. Maybe you have to carry maybe a small neck knife around, your neck, instead of a pocket knife. And you find that works out better for you. There's a lot of different things you can pick, obviously. And I just noticed for me, I go from typically a full loadout of EDC, as you may have seen in my channel, to a minimalistic approach, which just typically involves a very lightweight blade. Lately, I've been going with the mini K-bar dozer, which is around 1 ounce. I think it is 1 ounce equal or even. And so I got that, and I typically go with a keychain light, or at the very most, maybe a couple ounce little flashlight that I just toss in my pocket if I have pockets in my clothes. If not, I just don't carry a light. And that's pretty much it, I keep my cell phone somewhat, close by, at least in the same room that I'm in. And that's pretty much my EDC. And for a lot of us, that's all you need. And so, I think this is something that a lot of people kind of maybe overemphasize a little bit, but I do see some people's concerns. And this mainly comes from a lot of the self-defense forums and communities that harp that you should have a personal protection weapon, pepper spray, handgun, whatever it is that you're proficient in or is legal in your area, on your person at all times, including in your home. Just like if you're in your home, you should lock your doors, just because it reduces the chance of someone just walking in your home. And also, if you have a home security system and you're going to be inside for a good period of time, arm your security system and lock your doors. Why not? You have it. And so a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people I do know, honest to God, they even leave their home with their house unlocked. They don't have a security system. And a lot of people who I do know who have security systems don't use it, especially when they're in the home. And so if you have these things, you might as well use it. Even I fall victim to this, with my home security system. A lot of times I go to sleep and I forget to arm it, or I'm inside my house and I forget to turn it on. I get that. I guess it's a false sense of security, but it's there. And so I would agree, but it somewhat depends on where you live. But to have a personal protection item or tool on you, it makes sense. There are times that I do, in my home, I'll carry it. But once again, I think sometimes comfort trumps, practical types of applications or ideologies. And so at the end of the day, when no one's looking, I guarantee the majority of us are not carrying as many things as we may say or what other people might think we would carry. And so that's just the reality of it. And so my thing is, if you're in the home and you're not physically armed, like there's nothing on you, and I'm just going to go ahead and say that a 2-inch pocket knife isn't going to cut it, because that's not going to do a lot. If you have an attacker come at you with a gun or a baseball bat, then having something nearby could probably fill in the gap, So if you're in a room or within, a couple steps away from a weapon system, I think that that's probably adequate enough. And so some people just say, hey, you can get caught off guard, and within a matter of seconds, someone can break through your door and be on top of you so quick that you may not even have a chance to get out of your seat to even grab your weapon. It's possible, but I think that we also have to live our lives and not live our lives in fear. So we should have different means set up to, safeguards, but we don't want to live our lives. And if you're living your life like that, maybe you live in the wrong place. Maybe the crime rate is just too high for you, and maybe it's just not a safe place to live. And so, believe it or not, I don't get them as much as I used to, but I used to get a lot of comments that, that they feel like they're very uncomfortable. People felt uncomfortable where they live in terms of their safety. And like I said, I don't get that as much as I used to. But I would simply comment back to them. What about moving? What about doing something about it? Why would you want to just sit there and be a victim if you feel like you're not safe in your own house or community or street? And then I don't get any kind of response. It's almost like, oh, why don't you get it? Aren't you on my sob story? Aren't you, my friend? Don't you want to take my back? I'm like, well, the reality is the reality. If you're not safe, you're not safe. And if there's real reasons why you're not safe, then you may want to do something about it where you're living, or leave and go to another place that's safer. Why would you want to put yourself and your family in harm's way? So this is kind of an ongoing problem that I see with a lot of people, that they're not really willing to do something about it. Just like they're not really willing to actually carry at least basic EDC items when they're away from home. It's one thing when you're in your home and you got stuff and gear and capabilities all around you, maybe kits and packs, and you have all this stuff just within a few feet of you. But when you're on the road, you might be 20 to 100 miles from your house, but you don't even have a get home bag, or you don't have an emergency kit or a first aid kit in your car, and you don't have anything in your pockets but a wallet, maybe, and a cell phone. Is that going to really be enough? And in a lot of cases, it's not. So you may want to look into what it means to have an everyday carry system. I have videos on that, and it's all over the web. There's a large movement that's been going on for over 10 years about EDC. And so that's why people go to the next level. After you master and you figure out, at least on some level, a practical loadout for your everyday carry, you go into your everyday carry bag, which carries the redundancies and or overflow items that really are not going to be as practical to carry on your person. And then you go into other systems. And of course, this is all very addicting, as I'm talking about it in my ebook that I'm almost done with. It's this whole system it evolves over time. And it's not really a bad thing. You got to keep it in check. But it's like any other interest or hobby, you have to start with something to get to the next part. And once you start getting some movement in there, you'll start to really grow. And growth is the objective here, because we want to make sure our needs can be met and be able to do what we want to do. It's our life. So let me know what you think about this. How do you transition from your public to your private EDC? Thanks for watching.